Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We're here in Brookshire County on our new highway extension from Houston to Tacoma, and in this video we're going to focus on moving some more resources around the map. Last video was a lot more building and detail oriented. This episode we're going to focus a little bit more on getting resources to some new cities. And so with this new cargo connection to Tacoma, we're going to focus on getting some resources coming back from the cargo hub out by Roswell and having the train that comes out to pick up the construction materials bring some resources for Tacoma on its way back. And then we also briefly talked about having our ships that bring goods and machines to Salt Lake City, having those take resources back so we can continue growing Allentown and Pittsburgh. And so first off, starting here in Tacoma, let's take a look at the resources it needs. It looks like Tacoma only has construction materials at the moment, so really goods, fuel, machines, tools, food, any of that would be good to bring into the city. So we'll have to come over and take a look at our cargo hub and see what resources we currently have coming in over here. And so based on a quick glance, it looks like we're only having construction materials, tools, goods, and food coming into this hub. So fuel and machines are currently out of the question, but I think the most reasonable one we could start bringing back towards Tacoma would either be food or tools. Our goods line is currently sort of tied up with all those new lines that we just placed going out to Salt Lake City, so I don't want to put more strain on our goods factory than what we already have. And so we have tools coming right here from our Roswell Tools factory. This one's actually not maxed out on production, so I think we have room to have this factory reach its full potential, and then the excess that we create from that, so it looks like we'll have about 200 once we get this out to 800 production. That 200 can then go out towards Tacoma. And then food's going to be a little bit trickier since we have a lot more modes of transportation that it sort of swaps between, but we do have a ton of room to grow here at this food processing plant. So I think if we have time at the end of the video, we might try to connect this food processing plant up more with the cargo hub and then out to Tacoma. But for now, I think we're going to focus on our tools factory out here, getting tools to Tacoma, and then worrying about our boat line that we mentioned earlier. Alright, so taking a look at our tool line and sort of the source of everything, this sawmill, we can see we are first limited by how many planks we're producing. So we want this to be maxed out at 800. Now, I believe we definitely have room to grow now with some of these vehicles, as we have both a truck line and a train line bringing logs into this area. So let's analyze these for a little bit and see where we can improve along these lines. And so it looks like the line that's actually lacking for us is our truck line. If we take a look at the line rate for our trucks, that's down at 460. As our train here is taking logs at a rate of 800. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade these trucks and bring this up to a rate of 800. Now we could just commit to one mode of transportation, but I think because of the distance and the amount of vehicles we would need, I think it's still good to keep them separated, bringing logs in by both truck and by train. So we're going to continue with that, at least for now. So we'll grab this line, manage our vehicles. We will replace these with hopefully much better trucks. Let's find, so this is the truck that we're currently using. It has a capacity of 8, a top speed of 19, and I'm sure we have better trucks that we can use if we take a look at some of these. So we have this truck here that has a capacity of 9 to 13. I'm not sure what that would be for logs. I'd assume it'd be on the 13 end, since logs I assume would pack easier, and so this would be on the higher end of the capacity. We have this truck down here that can also do the same thing, and I think we'll I think we'll go with these trucks. It'll continue to keep the sort of red trucks that we have hauling these logs already. And we can see immediately that brings our line rate almost all the way up to the 800 that we want. We will have to monitor our traffic down here and make sure that this doesn't get too jumbled up. But we will just grab a few more road vehicles to get us up to 800. And then that should be our log situation sorted out for our tools line. And then another line I think we'll need to upgrade is our Lincoln tools line. Because this seems to be holding up a few of our trucks. It's not that big of an issue, especially since these trucks will pass each other. But while we're here, we might as well upgrade it. So we'll keep the existing line rate that we currently have. We'll keep everything the same with this line. But we will just upgrade these purely for a top speed standpoint. Alright, and a few modifications later, we're back to about the same rate on our tools line. And what's even better is there's less vehicles, so that should help a bit with traffic. And so that leaves us now with moving our planks to the tools factory. So let's take a look at our train line. And as expected, our train line is only able to move at a maximum rate of 689 resources. So we do need to get that up to 800. And this is a pretty old line, so I think we can definitely afford to upgrade our engines. As we can see, our train's only really hitting 38 miles an hour at the start of this straight segment, and that's already about halfway towards the tools factory. So let's come in here, manage these vehicles. I think we could still keep this within 3 trains. We might even be able to get it down to 2 if we're able to be efficient enough, but we'll find an engine that can carry things and cars to carry both planks and tools. Alright, now we do have our new train here that will be taking planks and tools back and forth. It is a significant upgrade. It has a top speed of 59 miles an hour now. The previous train could only go 50. The power rating is better, so it's able to speed up even faster than the previous one. This one should be able to hit its top speed between its 2 destinations. And if we take a look at the overall line here, we only need 2 trains, and we're operating at a rate of 822. So I think that is perfectly where we need it to be, and hopefully we can keep our finances the same. This train is a little bit more expensive to run. Well, it's a few $1 million more expensive to run. I believe the last train was only about 2.8 million. So this is a little over double, but hopefully the increase in speed and frequency should still keep us earning money on trips like this. Alright, so now with those trains going, let's continue to work down the line. So next we have, I believe it's from here to the cargo hub. We'll want to take a look at that line. Now this is where things get complicated because not all of our tools go to the cargo hub. Some of them get taken off here in Roswell. Some of them come straight from the sawmill to Lincoln. So we're going to have to do some math to figure out what our target rate's going to have to be for that. But we can take a look here. Roswell is currently the largest consumer at 250-ish. So we're not going to mess with that at all. But we will take note of that number. And then Lincoln next is 168. And then Pittsburgh, which is a number we'll have to pay attention to, is taking 151. So that's how much is already going to the cargo hub. If we have Lincoln and Roswell together, and we do some rough rounding and say 250 and let's go with 200 just to be safe. It looks like we're transporting about 450 resources not from the cargo hub, which then means if we have a maxed out tools factory, this truck line will have to take a rate of 350 to the cargo hub to fill in our need for Tacoma. And so what's interesting is we saw at the tools factory that Lincoln is only taking about, I believe it was 160, 170-ish resources. So this rate of 350 for these trucks is way too overblown, so we're going to sell off about half of these and see where that gets us. And then we will keep this rate a little bit higher just in case resources kind of come and go and demand shifts a bit. But I think having a lot less trucks coming from here to Lincoln will save us money on that line. And then we can come back to our truck line going to the cargo hub. And this one might also just be a simple case of just upgrading the truck, and that might be all that we need to do. And so upgrading didn't do us too much. Now remember, we do need to add about 100 or 200 more line rate to this, so we can easily double our amount of trucks, and then maybe a few more. So we'll get 1 or 2 more, and that should get us to the 350 that we're looking for. So there we go. And then lastly, what that means is we now have to come over to Tacoma, and let's see how many tools it needs. So we're greatly overshooting this number here. I believe we're accounting for 200 or 300 if I remember the math that we did before. Yeah, currently we have 200 that we would be planning on bringing into Tacoma, which is greatly over the amount that Tacoma currently needs, but it does allow room to grow. As once we start providing tools for Tacoma, I'm sure that the amount of buildings requesting tools will also grow with it. And so we're going to set up our tools line in Tacoma first before we fix our cargo hub train. And so we'll find an unload stop, and we'll have to find where those tools need to go. And unfortunately, it looks like it might have to be on the same road as some of our bus stops in order to reach some of the buildings. Actually, I think we'll just place it right here on this corner. It does keep us out of the way of these bus stops, and I think the only building we lose is this one here, which I'm not too worried about. Now we need to get trucks on this line, and I think we got rid of our road depot in the last video and we didn't replace it, so let's get a new road depot placed in this area. I think we'll just get it right off the end here. I don't think we need to worry too much about that right now. And then we'll buy some vehicles. And we'll start out with 10 trucks and see what rate that's going to give us. And so that looks like we're almost already right at the 200. We'll get one more truck on here, and that should get us a little over 200. And then the last thing that we'll need to do is find our cargo hub train, which is right here. We'll have to manage the line, and then after it stops at the Roswell cargo hub, we're going to have it load tools. We'll add a station, have it come in and stop right here where it's going to unload. We can keep it on everything for now. And then we're just going to simply switch this over to track 4 with an alternate platform of track 3, although that won't really matter with just 2 trains on here. And then I think that should work out. So we'll let this play, and then all you have to do is wait to see if tools start coming back on the return trip. Alright, so now checking in on our tools factory, we can see these numbers slowly going up, which means that demand should be getting recognized in Tacoma now. So the tools factory sees 115 potential for Tacoma. Obviously there has been 0 transport yet, so it is producing the tools, but none of them have necessarily moved or made it to their destination yet. I believe this train here is our first train with tools that would go to Tacoma, so it is still going to be a little bit before we start seeing those resources heading back out towards that station, but I think we'll just let it run for a little bit and we'll check back in on it later in the video. And so now that brings me here to Allentown, where we want to maybe try to get some resources out here. And while we could easily bring food on these boats back. We do have this food processing plant that I think we'll just end up bringing in by road transport at some point. Unfortunately, we don't have that connection made yet, and I kind of want to wait until we have our highway extension to Allentown and then it coming out to Pittsburgh, because then we can easily get this food processing plant connected to that highway and then straight to Allentown. So I think we're going to hold off on food. Now, tools is a pretty easy option that we could do, as we do have a lot of tools coming out of Portland, as well as fuel coming out of Houston. So let's take a look at those numbers and see where we end up there real quick. Alright, so tools could be an okay option. We are running pretty close to maximum at this tools factory. Let's take a look at, I believe it's fuel that we also have. Fuel is nowhere near being maxed out, so that could potentially be an option. If we take a look here, yeah, these oil wells aren't even getting taken as much as they could be. And so I think what we could do is we could try to squeeze out what we can from the fuel refinery here. And the only thing we'd have to worry about is our train that brings fuel back to the cargo hub, and it looks like it's already pretty full, so I'm not sure how much more we could force it to bring. And diverting our boat line would be a pretty big diversion from where it's already going. However, we could have a pretty easy road connection to Salt Lake City. We would need to create a highway connection somewhere here, but I think if we do that, our fuel trucks can then get on the highway, sort of bypass the entire city, and then get dropped off here, where then they can make their way into the cargo hub area. And I actually don't think that's too terrible of a plan. I did want to avoid putting more pressure on this road, because unfortunately we already have a backup of vehicles there, and I only wanted this area to be an entrance in one way, so it doesn't turn into a through road when we do extend this around and up. But I'm not sure if we really have any other choice at the moment. I think our best bet is to have an intersection either off of this road or this road, come down along the rails, and then connect up here. So I think that's the plan. So we're going to upgrade our vehicles, bringing oil to our port here. I believe we're moving as much oil as we can on these boats, so we'll probably have to either upgrade these boats or get a few more. And then we're going to have to make a road connection from this fuel refinery to Salt Lake City, and then a connection to the highway, which then would need a connection to the Salt Lake City hub. Alright, so let's start here at the fuel refinery. I think we're going to want to target a rate of 600, which would be about a 200 production increase. So that seems like a reasonable number to ship all the way out to Allentown, which means we're going to have to bring that math all the way back to the oil well, where this line is going to have to move at a rate of 1200, since it gets reduced at a rate of 2-to-1 at the oil refinery. And so these trucks are pretty old, so hopefully just a simple upgrade should be all that we need to do. Let's see if we have better oil trucks. And so this looks like the best tank truck that we have at the moment, with a capacity of 14 and a top speed of 37. So let's do that. Hopefully we overshoot so we can sell a few vehicles, help alleviate some pressure on our roads, and maybe 1 or 2 more vehicles. I think that's an okay rate. It's not perfect, but we'll stick with it. I'm sure that number will go up and down over time. And now with our oil truck situation sorted, let's look at our boats. So this boat rate is going to need to be the same as our trucks. And we do have a pretty considerable upgrade for boats. We have these tow boats, which can carry significantly more. So we might even be able to get rid of a few boats, although it looks like not. But we don't have to get more, and I think that's pretty substantial. So that's what these boats look like. And then I believe that's everything that we need to do in terms of upgrading. Now we just have to come in and connect everything up. Alright, so I think we have most things in place now for our fuel trucks. So first we have our country road coming and expanding down the river, connecting up to the existing roads here in Salt Lake City. And then right here is where we get our interchange to the highway. It's a very basic one. I imagine this will be pretty low use. The only reason I would see people using it is people that live up here, coming down and then using this exit to get to the shopping center. Although arguably it could be faster to come take this one, but I'm not really sure. But I don't see this interchange being too much of a problem for Salt Lake City, so it is pretty basic. We did our best to blend our merges here. It doesn't look great, but again, there's not really much we can do, especially with the way the game treats roads, and especially on and off ramps just isn't great. So this works out fine, and from a distance you can hardly tell that we've had to do some patching there. It is unfortunate that these retaining walls do sort of cut into the road a bit, but again, I think it's okay. I guess we can't. I was going to say maybe we could replace just this section with a little dirt segment, but it looks like if we did want to do that, we'd have to delete this, and that might just bring a whole bunch of problems we don't want to deal with right now. But anyway, back to it. The trucks should be able to get onto the highway here, follow along down to this area where they can then get off, take this road, and then this road down into our Salt Lake City hub. Now we don't currently have a drop-off area, so I think we might just put a drop-off just on the road right here, and that should serve everything we need it to. It reaches our ports, it reaches the train station, and all of that. And so really all that's left to do is put down a truck station at the fuel refinery and then get trucks running between it. Alright, so now with this truck station placed, let's find a road depot that we could use. And I think we have one over here. Yes, we do. And so again, the way we mapped it out, I believe we have about 200 fuel that we can bring over. So let's find that first. And so we'll go with those same Opel Blitz tank trucks as we did over in Houston. We'll get 20 of those because it is a fairly decent distance. And then those will come from this truck station over and to this drop-off right here. And now it looks like it actually routes a different way on the return trip. It looks like it cuts through Salt Lake City and then returns on one of these roads here. We don't want to do that. And so what we're going to need is a waypoint, and hopefully just a waypoint on this road will be good enough. But we'll come back, manage the line. After dropping off here, we want it to come back, go through that waypoint, and it looks like it takes the highway back the way we want it to. And so our rate looks like it'll even out around 120. And so we'll get a few more vehicles. And so sitting at just under 200, that is fine for me. And those trucks will need time to get all the way out here. But now we should be able to start setting up infrastructure in Allentown for it to receive some fuel. And so now we are going to be reusing this Allentown port to bring in these fuel. And it looks like Allentown does have the capacity to receive about the amount of fuel that we would be bringing in. Now, unfortunately, that does divert our boat line a little bit to get to the port and then back. However, similar to our food situation, I think once we have a highway heading out towards Pittsburgh, we can bring the fuel back to this port here and then have a truck take the road and then eventually the highway back and into Allentown. But even though I know it's a little bit more inefficient to just bring the boats over to this port, we are just going to do that anyway. And unfortunately, it seems like these boats are our most recent boats that can carry everything. these towboats unfortunately can't carry machines, goods, and fuel. So this is going to be our most recent boat that we can use, which is still good because it still has the highest top speed for cargo ships. But we are going to have to do some adjusting with the overall line here. So quickly with this paused, at Salt Lake City, let's make sure first it's unloading everything, and then it's going to load fuel. That's what we want. And then we're going to add a new station, which is going to be our Allentown port, which we might need to expand. And then here, this is unloading everything. If we want to be more specific, we can tell it to just unload fuel, and that shouldn't really cause any other issues there. And so then we need to, well, first we need to expand this. Alright, now a few quick fixes later. We have our truck station here, which can have the oil or the fuel come in. We will now need to find a good spot to unload, which we can overlap with our machines trucks here. So I'm not opposed to doing that because I don't think our machines trucks are that full. And so all we should have to do now is, again, grab a few of these trucks, which we'll start with 10. And then these should be good enough to go from here to our unload stop. Now I think eventually we will want to get this off of our main road as it interferes with some bus lines, and we might just get some general traffic on this main road, but I think for this line it's okay. If we add more, we'll probably need to switch it to a different street. Alright, and then now we should be in a position where we can just hit play and let this run. I think let's switch these terminals for our boats. So we want the machines one, or no, we want the machines one on probably the closest one, and the construction materials on this side, as well as our plank ship on that side. So all of our boats bringing fuel from Salt Lake City should just go to this dock here, and then all the other boats will go to this one. So now if we look at this line rate, we actually have way too many. So if we sell 2, we are aiming for 200, which is more than Allentown needs, but I guess that's okay. And then if we look back here, yeah, unfortunately we have drastically increased the rate on this line. So I believe it was at 1100. We'll aim to get back to 1100. Unfortunately, this is getting to be an absurd amount of ships on this line, but it just might be what we have to do in order to get our rate back up. Now, I genuinely don't think we need that many. I think maybe we just need to let some of these boats resituate themselves on the line, and that might fix it. Usually the line rate isn't perfect until it's sort of set in its line for a little bit. Let's just double check that everything is correct. So coming from Pittsburgh, it's picking up machines and goods. At Salt Lake City, it unloads everything and loads fuel. And then at Allentown, it unloads everything and doesn't load anything. So it runs empty between Allentown and the machines factory. But that is actually really good considering it was traveling empty back before. And here we can just get a good look at this mess that we've created. Unfortunately, because they are boats, this is going to take forever for them to figure themselves out, but I think we might just have to go on a faster speed and just let it do its thing until all this gets sorted out, because there's just too many boats for us to micromanage, and whatever the game decided to do when we added that station, I think it sent all of the boats back up here. So yeah, you can see this huge line that we now have of boats just waiting to come in. And a few of these we can just send them back because they already have machines and goods. So it's pointless for them to sit here in this line. But again, this is like a micromanaging thing that as long as we send a few of these boats back, I think we're okay to not have to worry about this too much. It'll just take forever for all of our finances and line rates to balance out from this. But I think where that leaves us with is a good amount of time to continue extending Allentown. You can see it looks like we forgot to private some of our roads, and the city has already started to try taking advantage of that. So I think we're going to fill out more of this area. We're going to extend more upwards. We might get a block or two over on this end, but I still want to wait until we get the highway connection to fill out over here. But I think while we wait for these boats to do anything, we'll be expanding Allentown. Alright, now I think after that quick expansion, Allentown is good enough to continue growing and especially reaching its target population. I think this is enough space here to reach the target population, a whole bunch of new blocks, and we're starting to get up to the base of this hill here, so I'm excited to see maybe what we can do up here. Maybe this road comes up and this is just a flat area for that road to build on, but I'm pretty excited. We're not going to go too far out this way at the moment, although we could maybe start to think about connecting up to the water over on this side, but I don't think that's until Allentown gets more of its resources coming in. And if we come and take a look at our boat situation, this is still a huge mess. This is going to take a while, but it is getting there, it looks like. Honestly, we might just need to be sending some of these ships to random docks just to clear this out. So this is going to be more waiting. I'll see what I can do, and hopefully we'll be back once this area is at least partially cleaned up. But while we wait for this mess to clear up, I think now is a good opportunity for us to take a closer look at everything we've done so far in this video, and then when we come back, we will talk about some next steps and future projects. Alright, and so now that we're back, let's take a look at everything we've done in this video, starting over in Tacoma. So now taking a look at Tacoma here, if we click the city name, we should see we are starting to receive tools. So that is very exciting to see. We can see them coming in to our station here. This train is just about to drop off some. I'm not sure how much it had to drop off, but it is dropping off some tools. Let's see what impact that has had on this line and the finances. So you can see this line has very much started to improve, although it looks like it kind of goes on and off of this pattern, so it's a little hard to tell exactly what's going on here. But at least if the last few years are anything to take into account, it looks like we are making a pretty healthy profit across the board here. And so just looking at all of our line rates, everything still seems to be okay. We're targeting around 200. The city doesn't seem to be there yet, but it looks like this number is growing, so tools getting here must have been a fairly recent development. We weren't watching this, so obviously we don't know how recent that is. But that'll just push the target population for Tacoma farther and farther up, continuing to put pressure on us expanding the city. I think we desperately need to expand upwards into this area to really get the most out of our city growth. But while we're here in Tacoma, let's see if anyone is using our highway more. And it looks like we're starting to get traffic moving in both directions. It's still not a lot, but we do have to start somewhere. We're even getting someone coming over here and coming off onto this part for Houston. So that's good to see. Of course, this section of highway is starting to get more and more use as demand builds. But overall, I'm very excited to see this highway starting to work at full capacity. And let's just check up on things here. And unfortunately, it looks like we are getting stuck in some traffic. We're still able to have a good amount of trucks on this line, which we might have to sell a few. And checking our line going to the hub, looks like we could afford to sell a few of these as well. I'm not too sure why this is happening. I think it's probably because of this being a traffic light. But I'm surprised that this hasn't sort of evened out or anything along those lines. But it does look like our sawmill is starting to push towards operating at max capacity. I think some of this truck traffic is hindering that a little bit, so maybe there's an opportunity sometime soon for us to give a slight upgrade to this train so that we're moving a little bit more than 800 rate. We won't put the whole burden of moving logs on the trains, but it seems like any trucks we can get off of this road would be beneficial. And then we see those same numbers reflected in our tools factory. Those are obviously going out, and you can see them slated to reach Tacoma. And then lastly, checking the cargo hub, just for even more confirmation, we do have a good load of construction materials waiting at our cargo hub here. And so leaving the Tacoma area, let's take a look at Houston and what we've done here with our oil lines. So it looks like this truck line is actually doing very well. We don't have any traffic issues. Things are coming in and flowing. We have a ton of oil waiting at the port. So everything seems to be working out very good here. These boats are doing just fine. Doesn't look like some of these are carrying fuel back. But they're still doing what they're supposed to. This is operating at around the 600 production that we wanted it to. And then that should also be happening down here at the fuel refinery, which we can see that is starting to get an upgrade. And then let's take a look at our highway here in Salt Lake City. Let's see if maybe it looks like some people are using this interchange for private transportation. So I actually really like that that's happening. That'll just help get more people on our roads and really make this feel like a nice lived-in city. But everything seems to be working out pretty well with these trucks. I don't think we ever adjusted the line rate on this, or maybe we did and we overshot it, but you can see that's up near 300, which is way more than we realistically need. So we should get that back down to around 200 before anything else. So 219 I'm okay with. And then lastly, we should see fuel starting to leave on some of these ships, which we do see. This one has 8. Looks like this one's probably going to get a little bit more. So I think this fuel is just starting to make its way out to Allentown, so we might not be able to see it get there in this video, as it looks like this is our first boat with fuel, 38 fuel, heading all the way over to Allentown here. So obviously if we click Allentown, we're not going to see these numbers popping in, but we do know that they are coming and that we are prepared for it. And so our boat situation did get a little bit better. We sort of cheated and just set alternate platforms for all of this port. So really that just kind of pushes the problem a bit farther down to the Salt Lake City port. As you can see, this whole mass of boats starting to make its way there. But hopefully now that they're at least moving, they'll spread out a bit more as they're moving, and then just as they make their way through the line, they'll start to spread themselves out that way. And so talking about some of our future projects, I think we're going to continue to focus a bit on this Allentown area. I mentioned it a few times, but I think we're finally ready to extend this highway over to Allentown. Now the terrain is a little rough getting here, but I think really the plan I want is to bridge over this way, and then maybe we have a sunken highway running along here, and then it pops up maybe somewhere on this side of the city, or maybe it curves and follows this way, and then that's how we get to Pittsburgh, which I wouldn't be opposed to. I think that would work out pretty well. But then as we come towards Pittsburgh, we'll have to plan this out nicely so that we don't sort of shoot ourselves in the foot with where our highway goes. So I'm not sure if we'll follow the city out this way, or if there's a way we can cut through the city, or maybe even just across. Like if we just come straight across Pittsburgh through here, we can have a few interchanges that will serve different areas of the city. But I think that's a problem for when we get there, because I think we just need time to sit on how we want to do that exactly. I think most definitely getting a bridge across here and then maybe turning this way, which would then aid us in bringing food and goods, machines, fuel, and all of that into Allentown. So that's probably going to be highest up on our priority list, is that highway. And then I think that will mostly cover all the plans I have at the moment. Nothing really urgent has popped up that I think we need to do immediately, so if you guys have any ideas on things that I've been missing that we should do or anything like that, let me know in the comments. But I think with that, we're going to end this video off here. And so with that, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.